UFC 310 goes down this weekend, and we have Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Machado Garry going up against each other in a 5-round co-main event that should decide welterweight champion Belal Muhammad's next opponent. Today, I'm going to give you a prediction for this fight, some breakdown, and some of the story that goes into this fight. So stick around to hear my thoughts on Rakhmonov versus Garry this weekend at UFC 310. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. And before we get into the video, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, all that good YouTube stuff. If you want access to bonus content and want to support the channel further, become a channel member via the link down below or the join button on our channel homepage. Thank you very much. Back to the video. All right, guys, so Garry and Shavkat Rakhmonov are going head-to-head in a much anticipated matchup of two prospects at 170 pounds, or I guess they have now grown into contenders, but still highly touted prospects at the 170-pound weight class. The original matchup was supposed to be Rakhmonov versus Belal Muhammad as the UFC 310 main event. Belal Muhammad ended up pulling out of this fight due to an infection in his toe, which caused him to pull out. And there was a lot of conversations about what was going to be next for Shavkat. Were they going to do an interim title fight or find him another opponent? Or if they were going to just move him back and still face Belal in his next fight. What they ended up doing, there was a lot of talk. Jack Della Maddalena, Garry, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Leon Edwards. There was a lot of rumors floating around, and they ended up deciding on Garry as Shavkat Rakhmonov's opponent for UFC 310. Garry was already booked to be fighting Joaquin Buckley in a main event the next week in Tampa Bay on December 14th. And so they just pulled him out of that fight, put him into this fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov, 5 rounds, non-title fight. I assume this is #1 contenders fight, though. And then they put Colby Covington in as a short notice, about not crazy short notice, about 5 weeks or 4 weeks to prepare for Joaquin Buckley as the new headliner for UFC Tampa on December 14th, which is the last card of the year. This fight, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Garry, is actually between two former training partners and also two of the most highly touted up-and-comers in the sport, but definitely in this division. So this is them some time ago sparring at Killcliff FC in Florida, and Shavkat splits time between here and Kazakhstan, if I'm not mistaken. And Garry used to train at Killcliff FC and now trains at Diego Lima Shootbox in Brazil. So you see them here. Obviously not crazy hard sparring, good technical sparring, light on the feet, not hitting each other too hard. Obviously, you don't want to have brain damage in the gym. And it's just crazy to see like the amount of guys that are hopping around on these mats. Because you see Kevin Lee off there on the side. You see Impa Kasanganay over here. And yeah, you got a bunch of big name guys just all on the same mats. That's what's cool about these super gyms. And that's how you end up with these stories such as Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Garry, sparring partners to pay-per-view co-main event. Nice question mark kick attempt there from Garry. So obviously the intensity is not too crazy there. That wasn't the hardest sparring day. But many people in the Killcliff FC camp have said that Shavkat badly KO'd Garry in sparring. And that's what's gone around. Garry has never confirmed this. People also say that Leon Edwards knocked out Garry at his gym in London. Ah, man. I don't know. It's weird to be talking about that type of stuff. I thought it was more like professional courtesy that stuff stays in the training room. But Garry left the gym, so those guys probably look at it as fair game. Anyways, let's talk about the matchup. We have 18-0 Shavkat Rakhmonov, 18 wins, 0 losses. And as you can see right here, he has 8 KO TKOs and 10 submissions. 6 fights in the UFC. He's coming off of a win over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Jeff Neal and Neil Magny. Finished all of them by submission, guillotine, and then rear naked choke and standing rear naked choke. Overall, 6-0 in the UFC. Hasn't really had an easy fight. As you can see here, he came into the promotion against Alex Oliveira on a pay-per-view, who is a vet. He's 22-8, but he's kind of fallen off at the end of his career. But then Michel Prazeres is 26-3, finished him in the second round. Carlston Harris, who's 17-4, spinning hook kick, first round KO. Neil Magny, long established vet, most welterweight wins of all time, actually, guillotined him in the second round. Jeff Neal, 15-4. Really tough fight. Finished him in round 3, standing rear naked choke. Nasty choke up against the fence. And then Stephen Thompson, it's Wonderboy, 17-6, former title challenger, 2 times over. Very tough competition. You can also see his competition before he got to the UFC in like M1 and Battle of Nomads. He's fighting 8-1, 10-4, 11-3, 28-6, 13-3. Like there's a couple of bums mixed in, obviously. Like 2-1's not great, 3-2's not great. But that's Jung. What the fuck? That's actually the it's actually the Iron Tortoise or the Iron Turtle that's in the UFC now. So he fought him early on, but that's a UFC level competition that he fought very early in his career. So Shavkat doesn't have easy fights. He very much comes forward aggressively, very willing to take damage, relies on his chin a lot, gets into a dogfight, but still dangerous and skilled everywhere. He's not necessarily the best defensive fighter in the world, but he comes forward the entire fight. And we'll see if somebody like Ian Garry can maybe crack his chin because he's 15-0. More decisions. Obviously, he's got 7 decisions. He's 8-0 in the UFC, 7-0 in Cage Warriors. He's coming off of the Michael Venom Page win, which was it was the co-main event, which was supposed to be the co-main event to Conor versus Chandler, but ended up being Yuri and Pereira rematch. Grappled him the entire time, very boring decision. And then a split decision win over Jeff Neal, which some people thought could have gone Jeff Neal's way. Dominated Neil Magny, but these last 2 fights where he fought Michael Venom Page and Jeff Neal, very gun shy, very much on the back foot and looking to grapple. So before that, he was just running right through people. But Ian Garry is much more technical of a fighter than Shavkat, and he's much less willing to get hit, which probably will lengthen his career. He probably will have less knockouts in the long run, but I guess he gets knocked out in the gym, so we'll see. Now, the winner of this fight is definitely going to be fighting for a title. If it's Shavkat, I'm sure. If it's Ian Garry, I could see them finding a way to not have him fight Bilal Muhammad. I could see them maybe doing him against Leon Edwards as a #1 contenders fight in the London O2 Arena event. That's on March 22nd. Leon said he's going to be headlining it, but he has not been given an opponent yet, or he didn't mention an opponent. There's also the possibility that Paddy Pimblett versus Moicano or somebody like that is a co-main event, which would be super exciting for a fight night. And let's talk about this fight, though. We have 18-0 versus 15-0. The way that they've both looked recently, I'm going to have to lean towards Shavkat. I just think Shavkat's going to be way too forward, way too much pressure, and bring way too much of a dogfight to Ian Garry, which Ian Garry has very much avoided in his last 2 fights. Jeff Neal, he was on the back foot the entire time. Michael Venom Page, he did not want to engage. He just wanted to camp in, like back control or top half guard. First guy to ever win a fight by decision without a significant strike on the feet in his fight against Michael Venom Page, which is interesting to say the least. But 2 big welterweights. You have 6'1" and 6'3". Ian Garry's reach and countering ability could definitely play a role here where he could catch Shavkat with a crispy 1-2 on the back foot and put Shavkat down. And that would be insane. The MMA community reaction if Ian Garry knocked Shavkat out cold like that would be insane. But personally, I think Shavkat is just going to be too much for Ian Garry physicality-wise and willingness to engage. And I think Shavkat is going... Ooh, how's he going to win? I think Shavkat's going to win. I think Shavkat's going to win like via 3rd or 4th round submission. That's what I'm going to go with. So that's my official prediction. Shavkat Rakhmonov by submission to win. But if you look at the betting lines for the fight right here above me, you have Shavkat Rakhmonov as a -380 to Ian Machado Garry's +300. I don't think it's that far apart of a fight. I think the odds should be closer. That shows you how many people are betting in favor of Shavkat Rakhmonov on DraftKings. If you want to bet on an underdog, I would definitely say go for Ian Garry because I think he has a much better shot to win than +300. So there could be some money to make there. So my official prediction for the fight is Shavkat by 3rd or 4th round submission. I wouldn't be surprised if Ian Garry catches him with a 1-2. So maybe that's an underdog for you guys to put money on. I don't bet. So anyways, there's my thoughts on the co-main event of UFC 310, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Garry. #1 contender fight at 170 pounds, it looks like. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks. Thanks for watching this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. It really helps me out a lot. If you want access to bonus content, become a channel member today by clicking the join button on our channel homepage or the link down below this video. If you're interested in some non-MMA content from me, go check out my podcast, What's Up Bro, with Wyatt and Bo, in the link down below. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.